Reshus Nechashav Rabbanim. To my dear friend Ariel, I was also remembering today when we started learning together, Michtav Meliyahu, all about Bitachin, learning how to increase our trust in the Ribbono Shel Olam. And Reshus Kol HaKal HaKadosh Hazeh. I remember many years ago, about 25, I was a young bacher coming to yeshiva for the first time. I was heading off to one of the largest yeshivas in America, yeshivas Ner Yisrael. And it was Elul, and I was expecting that it was going to be just like it was in the old days from all the stories that I had heard. The Rosh Yeshiva is going to get up, first day of the Zman of the yeshiva, and he's going to give a big clap on the bima, and he's going to scream, Elul! And everyone's going to be gripped and seized in fear. So I went that year early to yeshiva. I didn't wait until the last minute. I came before Shabbos, I unpacked all my bags. I made sure I was in the Beis HaMidrash exactly at the beginning of the first Marav of the year. And I was waiting for Rav Weinberg to stand up and scream, Elul! And the next thing I knew was Marav. And Elul came and Elul went. Several years later, I was zeicher to be learning in the Mir Yeshiva in Yerushalayim, the largest yeshiva in the world. And once again, it was for Elul. I got there early, I unpacked my bags, I got myself ready. And I walked into the big, amazing Beis Midrash that was there, and I waited for the Rosh Yeshiva, the Mashgiach, to get up and give his final klab of Elul. But it never happened. Years later, when I opened the shul in the valley, when it came Shabbos Mevarchim of Elul, which is the Shabbos right before Elul begins, there's famous stories from the old country that when the Chazan would say, Rosh Chodesh Elul, the women in the Ezras Nashim would faint. So I decided that when it came to this Shabbos Mevarchim of Elul, I would give it all the gusto when it came to saying Birchas HaChodesh. And I said, Rosh Chodesh Elul. And I was waiting to hear the thud of all of the women in the Ezras Nashim. But there was not a single one. It took me a very long time to realize that the month of Elul is not about the pachad, not about the fear that a person feels. It's not about the anxiousness, waiting and wondering what is HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to decide for the up and coming year. It's not about beating ourselves up over and over and over again for everything we didn't accomplish last year. But rather, like it says in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Rosh Chodesh Elul, from the beginning of Rosh Chodesh Elul, ad achar Yom HaKippur, until after Yom Kippur, Heimo Yemei Ratzayin, these days starting with Elul are days of Ratzayin, which means divine favor is shining down on each and every one of us. And he goes on to say, Yomim Elu, these precious days, Muvcharim Yoiser Umuzumanim L'tshuva, they are chosen and they are earmarked and they are designated for Klal Yisrael to do tshuva. Liyoisam Yemei Rachamim V'Ratzayin, these are days of mercy. These are days that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, he desires each and every one of us. Elul is a matana gedola, the greatest gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given to Klal Yisrael, to get ourselves ready for the Yemei Adin, the days of judgment on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. And every single day in this month are Yemei Rachamim V'Ratzayin. They are days of tremendous mercy, tremendous desire that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to watch as every single day we inch ourselves closer and closer to Him. And it's really what it says in the Mishnah. The famous words in Pirkei Avos. where it tells us that Chaviv Adam Shenivra B'Tselem, man is beloved because he's created B'Tselem in the image of God. However, Chaviv in Yisrael, the Jewish people, are even more beloved. Shenikru Banim L'Mokayim, because we are called the children to Hashem. In the month of Elul, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I am your father, and you are my children. And like every father waits and waits and waits to see the good in every one of his children, to see how they behave, to hear what they have to say, to see how they are coming close to him. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his infinite chesed, in his great mercy that he has on each and every one of us, the Rabbi Sha'olam waits during the month of Elul that each and every one of us should come closer and closer to him. A father will never ever give up on his child. HaKadosh Baruch Hu never ever gives up on Klal Yisrael. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter the sins. It doesn't matter how unsuccessful we were this year in our world of Avodas Hashem. What matters is the way that we prepare ourselves during this month and we get ourselves ready to greet the Ribbono Shel Olam. The Rabbi Yoina says on these words, that ki nikru banim l'makayim, we are called the children to the Ribbono Shel Olam. Ubachar banu mikol ha'amim, Hashem chose us from all the nations. V'nasan lanu es Torasa, he gave us his Torah. Al kol panim yoidim, we know anachnu, we know. Ki koroi ve'leinu Hashem yizbarach, that Hashem is so close to us. That's why he calls us his children. We go through the year. We don't always feel the yichud, the oneness, the closeness that we have to the Ribbono Shel Olam. But in the Yemei Rachamim, in these days of mercy, in these days when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that much closer to each and every one of us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals himself as our Father, and he is waiting for us to reveal ourselves as his children. I saw in the Sefer Torah Temimah on this pasuk of Banim Atem LaHashem Elokeichem, that you are children to the Ribbono Shel Olam. He says there's two kinds of fathers in the world. There's a father who loves his child. He adores him, cares about him, dreams about him, will do anything for him. However, that's a father who doesn't always show all of the evasive love, all of the tremendous love that he has for that child. You know, some fathers are very stiff. Child needs a hug. Child needs a kiss. Child needs a sweet look from their father to know how much he loves them. Some fathers feel it in their heart, but they don't express it in the right way to their child. But then says the Torah Temimah, there's another kind of father. Ha'oyev es benoi avas azim ha'oyev. A father that loves his son so much and so strong. Eino yochai lahadmin es haregesh beliboi. He can't keep it in his heart. Umar begilui, he reveals the tremendous love that he has for his son. Smothers him in kisses, loves him to pieces, does anything that he possibly can to help this child succeed in this world. V'zehu, that's what it means. Avasam shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael, the love that Hashem has for Klal Yisrael. Chiba Yisera, and it's even a greater love, that he let us know how much he loves us and cares about us. The month of Elul, preparing ourselves for Rosh Hashanah, Aseret Simei Tshuva, Yom Kippur, the month of Elul. If you didn't feel the love up until now, You have to be in tune to understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu's love of each and every one of you is so great. It's so mighty and so strong. He simply cannot hold himself back. But we cannot hold ourselves back either from the Rebbeinu Shalom. A friend of mine in New York, a Hasidic Yid, he saw the flyer for tonight's CHIZUK conference. And he contacted me. He was very excited. He saw that the keynote speaker is Rabbi Lezer Brody. So he said to me, Dovid, you became Hasidic? And I answered him, I've always been Hasidic. He said, what do you mean? I said, I hope that I could say, I'm a Chassid of Hashem. And the truth of the matter is that anyone that is in this room tonight, on a Sunday evening, on a holiday weekend, when the city of Los Angeles, California is going through the biggest heat wave we had in a very long time, people are melting on the street over here. And you pulled yourself out of the comfortable, air-conditioned home that you live in, and you were moiser nefesh, you risked your lives to come here tonight for the sake of CHIZUK, to get inspired, to come closer to the Rebbeinu Shalom, the Shah Kodesh Baruch Hu, Banim atem la'Hashem Elokeichem. Then I think that we're in a room that is filled with Chasidei Hashem. All of you have what to be proud of yourselves. And that's a schus during this month. To be someone that is showing the Rebbeinu Shalom, I care about you, Hashem, as much as you care about me. I want to come close to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as much as you want me to come close to you. And if a person will live these days so carefully, not to waste the moments. Every moment is precious, a gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us, as the Chayei Adam writes, B'chol shana v'shana, every single year during this time. Mis oirer oir rachamim lamava. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He is awakened to much more mercy above than He had even before Elul began. So we have to remember that we are children of Hashem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our Father. And as a father wants only the best for his children, all of the brachos, all of the refuah, all of the siyata d'shemaya, all the shidduchim, all of the children, all of the nachas, the father only wants the best. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants even more than that. And if we'll stop beating ourselves up over the head this month about all that we did not accomplish, and we'll set our sight for what we could accomplish, and we'll take upon ourselves one little tiny thing that we know that it's shaykh, that it's possible, that we could keep for the next 21 days or 30 days of our life, to show the Rebbeinu Shalom how much we want to come close to Him, then no one that is sitting in this room has to worry as they're standing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Rosh Hashanah. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to be nervous. Children aren't nervous when they're sitting in the lap of their parents. It's the most peaceful and relaxed that they are. Rosh Hashanah, Aseh Simei HaTshuva, Yom Kippur, we're literally sitting on the lap of the Rebbeinu Shalom, and we are embraced by His loving kindness and His benevolence. I want to leave you with one Maisa, an amazing story that I saw many years ago. One of the prominent Rabbanim in New York is a Rav by the name of Rav Dovid Goldwasser. He's done amazing, amazing things for Klal Yisrael. I believe that he's been almost all over the world to be mechazik, to strengthen Yadus, Yiddishkeit, and Judaism. He one day gets a call from a man in New York, and he says, Rabbi Goldwasser, I need to speak with you privately. It's very important. And Rabbi Goldwasser says, come to my office, we'll speak. The man walks in, a middle-aged fellow, and he sits down, he begins crying, and he tells over to Rabbi Goldwasser, I have a son. He was such a beautiful boy, so beautiful and so frum, serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And about a year or so ago, he began to go off of the derech of Hashem. And today he's not even frum. No Shabbos, no kashrus, no tefillin, nothing. I need your advice, Rabbi. I need to know how to deal with him. I need hadrach, I need direction. I need to know how to talk to him, how to love him. I need to know I can help him. Please, Rebbe, tell me what I can do. And so Rabbi Goldwasser spent no less than an hour with a man that he never met before. And he gave him a whole picture of the situation, and he gave him guidance and advice that was so beautiful for this man to hear. As he was getting ready to leave, he said, Rebbe, I have one question I need to ask. I'm even a little bit embarrassed. In my house, my custom is that I go around every single night to all of the children's rooms, and I fill up the negovasa cup. I fill up the washing cup and put it in the basin next to their bed, so that when they wake up in the morning, they'll be able to wash their hands. My son has not washed his hands in the morning for months and months on end. And I'm beginning to feel very silly every night. I fill up the cup, I put it by his bed. I know that he's not going to wash his hands. Should I keep filling up the washing cup next to his bed? And Rabbi Goldwasser thought for a moment, and he said, don't stop. You never know. You never know. Okay? He goes back to his house. He takes now all of this advice that he got from Rabbi Goldwasser, and he starts treating his son in the way that Rabbi Goldwasser said, and everything's going along. Several months later, he calls Rabbi Goldwasser and says, Rabbi, please, I need another shmooze. It's getting very difficult in the house. It's very hard for me. Please, give me some CHIZUK, give me some inspiration and some strength. And he begins to describe some of the things that are going on in the house. And Rabbi Goldwasser, every single detail he deals with. At the end of the conversation, he says, Rebbe, I have to ask you one more time. It's now even more months, and my son still does not wash his hands in the morning with the negavasa, with the washing cup I put next to his bed. Should I continue? And Rabbi Goldwasser said, yes. You never know. You never know. 7 months later, the phone rings. Rabbi Goldwasser picks up the phone, and he hears on the other end a man that is crying, Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe. He says, yes, who is this? Rebbe, it's me. Me, the one, the son, the negavasa. You'll never believe what happened this morning. I walked into my son's room to see how he's doing. I opened the door, and lo and behold, my son is standing there next to his bed, tefillin on his head and on his arm, siddur in his hand, davening to Hashem. First time, and I can't even remember. And I ran over to my son, our eyes locked with each other. We fell into an embrace. We began crying to each other. I'm just hugging him and crying, and I said, my dear son, what changed? What made you put on your tefillin this morning and daven and pray to Hashem? And he said, Tati, Abba. He says, I watch every single night. You fill up the washing cup and you put it next to my bed. for months and months and months and months and months, and you know that I don't wash my hands in the morning. But this morning I woke up and I looked at that cup and I thought to myself, if my Father has not given up on me, then all the more so the Rabbi Shalom, my Father in heaven, has not given up on me. And if I want to come back to Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take me back. Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem, I'm His child. This is the greatest month of the year. If a person will just put in their energy, and they will be positive and hopeful, and they'll believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us so close, then by the time that the shofar rings on Rosh Hashanah, we will literally be sitting in the warmest embrace that you can imagine, with Avinu Shabashamayim, our Father in heaven, the one who loves you, who cares about you, who desires the best for you. And the Ezras Hashem Yisbarach, He will give each and every one of us, together with our families and our communities and all of Klal Yisrael, He will give us a ksiva v'chasima taiva, a year that we are signed and we are sealed in the Sefer HaChaim, the book of life, a good life, a life in which we always know HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our Father, and we will always be His beloved children.